Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome to day one of the 5-day alignment workshop. I am so grateful to have you here. So grateful. I want to start by introducing myself because I know some of you here are new to me and my channel and my group and all the things. So I'm going to start with an introduction, let you know who I am, why you should care what I have to say, how I got to where I am, and why we're doing this. Okay. So my name is Danielle Gray. I am a manifestation and mindset coach, transformational teacher, and spiritual mentor. My mission is to elevate you to align to your highest and best self so that you can manifest a life you love. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. So I started my spiritual journey in about late 2017. Okay. I had just started network marketing in June of 2017. And I met many amazing people. One of them being a friend that I cold messaged, actually, you guys, this is how the universe works. I cold messaged her to get her to join my team. It turned out that she actually was basically a neighbor of mine. She lives just a few blocks over. And she introduced me to many things and many people, including the documentary, The Secret. She told me to watch it on Netflix when I had a chance. And when I did finally have a chance, I felt immediately compelled. I thought, oh my God, this makes so much sense. I can see where I've manifested in my life. I can see how the law of attraction works. I can see all these things. I need to tell more people about this. And thankfully, at that time, I had been in network marketing for a few months at that point. So I was comfortable leveraging social media to share my thoughts, my words, right? So I hopped on and I started talking about it. I literally, I think there's even a live where I say, I felt like a disciple of this information. And it turns out that's exactly what I am. It's funny. I since then I've had many readings, card readings, psychic readings, birth chart readings, human design readings, all the things. And all of them say that this is what I'm meant to do. Okay. So it makes sense. So fast forward, I started a coaching business in November of 2018. I officially started as a relationship coach. And it's funny because looking back, because hindsight is 2020, I realized that the only reason I went into relationship coaching was because I felt that this is all happening subconsciously, right? Subconscious is something really, really important. We're going to be talking about that a lot over these 5 days. But I subconsciously believed that relationship coaching was going to be more readily accepted than a manifestation coach or somebody who is preaching on universal laws and whatever, especially because I was not a spiritual person. Okay. I did not believe in God. I did not believe in organized religion at all. The whole thing, it was just so for me to come out here and go all of a sudden to go from not believing in religion to preaching about the universe and how you can think your things into experience and stuff. It's okay, who is this chick and what's happened to her? Okay. And then on top of that, when I was easing into my spiritual journey, I was talking about the law of attraction and universal laws and manifesting and all this stuff. And my husband looked at me like I had 3 heads and, would say, don't talk so loud. People are going to hear you. He was fully convinced that somebody was going to hear me and have our kid taken away from us. Okay. So, and he was only acting from his place of consciousness, right? Something you guys need to understand. And I will talk about this over these 5 days. People can only understand you from their level of consciousness. Okay. So unfortunately, that was just his level of understanding, was that he didn't, and he is not religious, but spiritual. Okay. So, and he just thought it sounded totally cuckoo pants, right? Excuse me. And even just the other day, I was saying something out in public about, I don't know, manifesting or alignment or something. And he kind of looked at me and was like, shh, don't. And I'm like, did you just shush me? I don't care. I will stand here and I will scream. I don't even care. And on the way from walking our son back from school today, or to school, when my husband and I were walking back, I was talking about this pendulum experience or whatever. And I could tell he was kind of uncomfortable, but he let me, talk about it I was trying to keep my voice down too, because I don't want to make him uncomfortable. Right. But I need to speak my truth. I need to speak my truth. I need to be honest and I need to say what it is. So anyway, I started out as a relationship coach because I was afraid to be seen as the spiritual mentor that I actually am. Okay. But when you're living out of integrity with who you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do, when you are out of alignment with who you are, when you are out of alignment with your purpose, okay, which is really the only true way to get into alignment anyway, which again, we're going to talk about over these 5 days. I've got a lot of information for you guys over 5 days, and I hope you're taking notes. Okay. And if you don't have the workbook, you can comment workbook below and I'll make sure that you get it at the end. Okay. And I want you taking your own notes. You'll notice this time in the workbook, normally I have, fill in the blanks or questions or whatever. This time, I really want to encourage you to take very, very, very good notes. And then you'll notice for each day, there is what Richard Dotts calls the magic formula for integrating the information you're learning. And it's going to ask you to basically reiterate what I've been talking about as if you were hearing it from a 5-year-old. And then it asks you, okay, what did I learn? Am I doing that? What am I doing instead? What's the gap? Right? So you want to be really taking some time to do that, because that's how you're going to get the most out of this workshop, is by taking really good notes and by then doing the magic formula questions to integrate it into your life. Okay. So anyway, I digress. I apologize. So started a relationship coaching business, was totally out of alignment with who I was supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing. Obviously, I didn't know that at the time, right? So I made $0. Okay. And right when I started my relationship coaching business, the reason why it went live November of 2018 was because I had been talking about it and talking about it and talking about it and talking about it and talking about it, but it was all words, no action. Okay. And then the universe will push you. Okay. If you're not listening to the signs and the nudges and the information that you're trying to be provided, the universe will push you. Okay. There's a quote in a book that we were just reading inside of the Watch the Magic Unfold book club, which was so good. We read The Big Leap just now. And we just finished up our last discussion, which is why I was a couple minutes late. I apologize. And it says something to the effect of, the universe will either, get her whatever message across with the tickle of a feather or the pound of a sledgehammer. Like, the choice is yours. But the more aware and awake you can be, and the more you can allow the information in, the easier it will be to learn the lessons and integrate the information. Okay. So anyway, I started this business because my husband was working at a job he absolutely hated. He was literally being bullied by grown men, like even older than him. It was absolutely terrible. But because I was uncomfortable with being with him going back into self-employment, or with him trying to find another job or whatever, I forced him to stay. I forced him to stay in this job he hated. And eventually he had a nervous breakdown and is now unable to work. Like, it was awful. And I feel bad about it every day. Okay. But it does serve us, because in that moment I thought, okay, well, I've been saying I want to do this and I haven't been doing it. So this is obviously my push, my sledgehammer moment to get out there and do what I've been saying I'm going to do. So I started my business. I was making an impact. This group that you're in actually right now started as a relationship coaching business. I think actually, if you go all the way back to the beginning in the videos, I think there actually are some videos in there from my relationship coaching days. And I did help people. I was helping. I did go on in-person, we'll call them discovery calls. I took some people to coffee. I was doing the things, but I wasn't able to secure any of the clients. And I realize now the reason why I wasn't able to secure any of the clients was because if I had secured those clients, I would have continued on that path. And that's not where I was meant to go. So that's why it didn't work out. So anyway, that's November 2018. I finally started my coaching business. By May of 2019, I realized, okay, I am swimming upstream here. This is not the way this is supposed to go. I am doing it the wrong way. So there was an infamous moment in my life when I'm standing on this rocky beach. We had taken our boat out Alouette Lake, sorry. We had gone to this rocky beach, and I asked the universe if this is what I'm supposed to do. If I'm supposed to be some kind of, I don't remember how I worded it at the time, manifestation coach, or I'm supposed to be teaching on this universal stuff. If I'm supposed to move into the universal realm and teach on this stuff, show me a heart-shaped rock. And that's when I got my first heart-shaped rock. So since then, heart-shaped rocks have been my sign. And I want to show something to you. So That was May of 2019. Okay. And very soon after that, because we had been living on basically savings and credit for months, because we didn't really have that much savings. We didn't plan for my husband to like lose his job, right? So we ended up chewing through all of our savings, racked up all of our credit. Like it was bad. We were in a bad way financially. Okay. So I ended up having to go back to work. I ended up manifesting the perfect job for me at the time. But I ended up having to go back to work. I took a 1-year maternity leave contract, and which was, like I say, absolutely perfect. I was trying to go back to work to ease the financial burden. I thought, okay, if I can just get over the hump of the money thing not being my main driving factor, I can serve from the heart, and I can go back to doing it for the mission and not for the money, right? So I got a job, manifested this year-long contract. It was a fantastic environment to be in for me at the time. It really allowed me to shine as the person that I am. It allowed me to be who I was. And the other thing was, I went into the job knowing I wasn't going to stay, and I didn't want to stay. So I didn't really care what people thought of me. I didn't really like, I was doing a very good job, and I wanted to get along with everybody and everything was good, but I wasn't attached to it. You know what I mean? So I really didn't care what the outcome was going to be, because I wasn't going to be there for long. And it was like I was leading a double life, because nobody there knew I had this other business, and I was not planning on staying. So when I got the job and it was going to be a year-long contract, I vowed and declared to the universe and to literally everybody, I'm staying at this job for 1 year. By the time the contract is up, I will be so successful that having this job is actually going to hinder my progress, and I will not be able to stay, because the job did say that it had the potential to go part-time or permanent or whatever at the end of the contract. Like, assuming, I guess, ultimately my boss at the time was thinking that he'd have whoever came to fill the maternity leave would stay, and like as a support person or whatever. But I declared that wasn't going to be the case. I didn't want the job. I was going to be too successful by then. And so right after I got this job, I actually manifested a full scholarship into this business coaching program that I wanted to be in so bad. Obviously couldn't afford it, right? I had to go back to work. Like right after I started my job, our phones got cut off. I was taking like canned smoked oysters for lunch, because we didn't have a ton of extra money for, like, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel here. Okay. We had very little money. And then my husband decided to go into the Navy. And that whole process really sped up. It went really, really quickly, like way faster than it should have. But so in the midst of me starting a new job and all these things, he's got to go off to this military training. So we had put my son in daycare as well, which was another huge transition. And we also didn't have money for that. So it was like just such, you guys, like honestly, July, August, September of 2019 was like, I don't even know how to explain. It was like such a gong show. Anyway. So I manifested this business coaching program, but I did nothing with it. I did nothing with it. I did launch a very small 6-week money manifesting course in November of 2019, which did pretty well. But I way undercharged for it. Way. I couldn't get myself to acknowledge my value. So I way undercharged for it. Did make some money finally in my business, but very little. And then in January, when I went to launch that same money program again at a higher price, well, I tripped my upper limit again. And you guys, if you have not read The Big Leap, I need you to read it, because it talks all about how we sabotage ourselves. We trip our own upper limits because we don't allow things to be as good as they can and whatever. Anyway, so January 2020, a previous mentor of mine comes out of nowhere and accuses me of copying her for this launch that I had, even though it was totally different than hers. Anyway, she accused me of copying her, threatens to sue me. I have to pull the plug on this launch that I'm doing. And the conversation that she and I were having actually caused me to be late for it was one of these like 5-day workshops that I was putting on. And she caused me to be late for my 5th day, when I was going to kind of solidify the invite to come into this program. Because we were going back and forth. I'm like, don't sue me. I'll pull the plugs. But I had to show up and finish, my training. So ultimately I put all this effort into this launch for nothing, because I couldn't I couldn't get anywhere. And then at that point, I had been spinning my wheels. Okay. I had been doing things the wrong way. I had been going about it from wounded masculine energy. I was doing to the point where I was ignoring my family. And even I'm not proud of this, but I will very much admit it because I like to be open and honest with you guys. My husband actually gave me an ultimatum and he was like, look, this is obviously not working. And if you keep going the way you're going and doing all these things and ignoring your family and being resentful of us when you're hanging out with us, because that is what happened. I started to get resentful when I was spending time with him because I should be doing this and I could be doing that and I should be blah, 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 right? Should, and all over the place. He's like, none of this is going to be any good if we're not here for you when this is over, right? So you need to dial up. You need to figure out what's a priority here, like regroup, and maybe we'll try again. And well, he didn't even say let's try again. He just kind of gave me an ultimatum. He said, this is not working. And I said, look, this is my calling. This is what I'm meant to do. And I know that. I also know that I'm going about it the wrong way. This is obviously a huge awakening that I am not doing this in a way. Like, obviously that whole situation was just a glaring message to me that I'm going about this the wrong way. Right. And so I thought, okay, definitely I need to dial back and I need to reevaluate some things. Okay. So I took a couple of months off. I know some of you guys who have been in this group for some time did notice that there was a little bit of a dip in my, showing up. And then when I started to regroup and I started to kind of dabble here and there, kind of getting back into it. Anyway, in, I don't know, April, I guess, 2020, I was kind of getting ready to gear up again, to get back into my business. And mainly because it was April and I was supposed to leave this job at the end of August or middle of September or whatever. I didn't know exactly what my end date was at that time. But I knew that the date was looming and there was no effing way I was going to be stuck in this job. So I messaged my business coach that I had manifested this position, this course, this program. And I messaged her and I said, look, I know I haven't been using the program to its fullest ability, but I've got like 4.5 months. We need to make this happen. What do I need to focus on? And she said, okay, X, Y, and Z, do these things and let's go. I said, okay. Then I'm simultaneously, like, of course, there's lots of things going, lots of moving parts all the time, right? Then I'm speaking to, I made a new friend who is a psychic tarot reader. I don't really know what the title. Anyway, she was doing live card pulls on her page. And so I asked for a card and she said, and this is something I've learned about me and my guides and my angelic team. We're going to talk about this later in the 5 days. But they're very loud. And when my guides have a message for me, it doesn't matter who is delivering the message. I get the same thing every time. They're very loud. They want to make sure that you're listening to what I'm saying. Sometimes they'll make whoever pull from a different deck or multiple decks of cards or say certain things or whatever. Like, they're very, very adamant that what needs to be said is said, right? Kind of like me. So anyway, they came through and they said, you have everything you need to be successful and to get where you're going, but you need to focus on the inner work now. The shadow work specifically was what they had said. So I thought, okay, shit. This whole time I've been avoiding the inner work. This whole time I've been focusing solely on doing masculine energy, not receiving feminine energy. Okay. I've been stuck in the doing. I feel like I need to do more things. And of course, since then I've had many more epiphanies and I realized why this is a pattern of mine. But anyway, so I dove in. One of my very good friends, Jess Rogus of Divination Dreamer, many of you are in her group as well. I contacted her and I said, okay, she had actually given me access to kind of dabble in the beginning modules of her shadow, what is it called? The Shadow Portal program. When she first created it, because she and I kind of became business besties and we were helping each other launch our businesses and stuff. And she had given me some, a kind of a taste of it. I said, okay, I need more and I need accelerated. Like, I need you to help me. I need you to be my coach. I need to get this stuff done. Okay. So she helped me through a lot of things that eventually enabled me to launch my Alignment U program. At the time, it was called Manifestation Mindset Mastery, but it's evolved now to be less about focusing on manifesting and more about aligning to your purpose and, who you really are and what you're here to do, then ultimately that aligns you to, higher consciousness, higher vibe, and then the manifestations just become a byproduct of all of that, right? The work is really what is necessary, the inner work, okay? So I slowed down to do the inner work finally, something I had never done, okay? And this is like, what, a year and a half, 2 years in almost, right? Maybe even more. I don't know what the math is. Anyway, no, 2.5 years. Yeah, because from when I started, when I discovered the secret, all the way to, April 2020, which is, 2 some years, I was going about the whole thing the wrong way. Believe that. Okay. So anyway, so I did the shadow work, started doing inner work, started discovering who I am. I was very afraid to look. I will be very honest. I was scared to look. I was avoiding it the whole time. I thought, well, I'm already destined to be this great mentor and have all this money and all this stuff. Like, what do I need to do all this stuff for? And then when I started to dig into who I am, I was afraid of what I was going to uncover. And then I had a realization. You are who you are, no matter whether you know it or not. But if you don't know all the parts of you, there's no way you can make any changes. There's no way you can utilize it. There's no way you can transmute it. Like, you can't, it's like trying to, you realize you're in financial turmoil, for example, and you need to make some changes, but you are not willing to look at what's already going on. Like, how can you improve what's going on if you don't even look at what's going on? You know what I mean? So yes, Jamie, thank you. My infamous slow down to speed up. I realized I needed to slow down to do the inner work to speed up my progress. So that's exactly what I did. Okay. So, and things started to happen very quickly. Okay. So this is April, this starts. May, I launched Manifestation Mindset Mastery, which is now Alignment U, for the first time. Okay. And I had an amazing launch. I think I grossed like $40,000 in sales. When up to that point, you guys, up to that point, 2+ years in business, I'd made $2,900 total. And that only started in November of 2019. From November of 2019 to May of 2020, I had made a total of $2,900. Up until November of 2019, I had made $0 in my business. Okay. And then all of a sudden I had a $40,000 launch. Now that's not cash, that's sales, but still, right? It was very, very impressive. But one of the things I want to say, going back to my heart-shaped rock mention there, since I asked the universe for a sign, and I asked them specifically for a heart-shaped rock, and that's one thing, you guys, about signs, you can just decide whatever it is. Like, I want to see a rainbow, I want to see a dog, I want to see a butterfly, I want to see a heart-shaped rock, I want to see a heart-shaped anything. Like, you get to choose. Okay. So heart-shaped rocks have become my thing, and the universe now uses that to show me when I'm on the right path. And so during this first launch that I was doing, I don't know how many days into the launch it was. I don't even know if I had open registration or what part I was, but anyway, I'm in the middle of my launch and I'm walking through the house, and all of a sudden I'm barefoot, and all of a sudden I feel something on my foot. And so I pick up my foot to look, and it's literally, okay, you can't really see it. It's this little tiny heart-shaped little rock. I don't know where it came from. I don't know how it got stuck to my foot. I don't know how, I don't know, but it was stuck to my foot. I looked at my foot, I saw it, and I just burst into tears because I knew right then and there that this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I've been doing it the right way. I've been doing the work. And since then, I can promise you, doing the inner work is the only tactic you need. Okay. You don't need another system. You don't need to ask people for advice. You don't need to do anything. Okay. You need to be doing the inner work. And that's what we're talking about this week, is the inner work to alignment. Okay. So I would love to know who is excited about learning how to get into alignment. What does alignment mean to you? Can you guys let me know in the comments here? What does alignment mean to you? Why are you excited to get into alignment? What does that mean for you? Okay. Oh, somebody's asking, do you look admirably into your eyes in the mirror and tell yourself how well you're doing? If not, you should start there. I found it's about self-love. Yeah, absolutely. I do that actually. I give myself pep talks and I look into my eyes and I tell myself how awesome I am. And I, and I say, we're doing it. I say we, I refer to myself as we, and it's so good. But that is a good tip. If anybody's not doing mirror work, I highly recommend. Anyway, so that's a little bit of my backstory. Okay. So since then, I've welcomed many amazing clients into the Alignment U program, many of which are here right now watching me live. And we just were at a book club before this, and they continue to absorb all the things because that's how I know I've attracted the right people and I'm doing the right thing. Okay. And I cannot even tell you how many amazing situations we've encountered together as we've been moving forward through the Alignment U program. And actually throughout this week, I'm going to do something I've never done before. I'm going to have the girls in Alignment U take turns. We're going to do one a day. They're going to come in and we're going to have a live, interview where they're going to be able to explain to you what their experience in the program is, how it's helped them, where they were when they started, how they decided they knew it was for them, how it's all been unfolding since then. Today at noon, America is going to be live with us. She joined Alignment U in February. Her story is so funny too. I will let her tell you. Basically, she encountered me by chance, quote unquote, because there's no such thing, right? Encountered me by chance, signed up for the workshop, even though she didn't really know what it was, knew she had to be in the program, even though she still didn't really know what it was, signed up, paid in full even, Canadian conversion too, because I charge in US. She paid the Canadian conversion in full, jumped right in, totally willing to better herself. And you would not believe the amazing transformation that I've witnessed in her in the last 8 months. Anyway, I can't wait to have her on at noon. I hope you guys come back to watch that. If not, the replays will be available, obviously. And while we're talking about replays, all of these replays are going to be available until the 27th within the group here. I am going to email them out. I will text them to you. It's going to be very, very hard for you to not see the replays. Okay. So today we are talking about surrendering to what is, which is the first vital, unskippable part of aligning to the truth of who you really are and what you're here to do. Okay. If you do not do this part, you are wasting your time. You must first surrender to what is. Okay. That is one of the hardest parts, I think, too. Most people don't want to take the time to look at what is because they don't like it. And on top of not liking what they're currently experiencing, and this is one of the reasons why I don't really, I love The Secret in the sense that it's very empowering to know that you have that kind of power over your own life. But it leaves out a lot of the things, right? That's just one universal law. There are 12 other immutable universal laws. There's so much more going on. But surrendering to what is first and foremost is so important. But because The Secret tells us what you focus on is what you manifest, I was very afraid to look at what currently was, because what currently was nothing I wanted, right? I had a shitty financial situation. I didn't want to be where I was living. We live in the basement suite of my parents-in-law's house. When I started this journey, I hated that fact. Now, my perception has totally changed. I love it. We've got a built-in support system for my son. My father-in-law and my son have the best relationship I could ever hope for my son to have with his grandpa. We are actually in the midst of taking over bill by bill until we've taken over the whole house. We are going to continue to stay. We were originally talking about with the family to, when we were ready to take over the house, and we were going to switch and they were going to move down and we were going to take over the upstairs. And my husband and I have decided, you know what? I'm very comfortable in our suite down here. We've made it very, very beautiful. We just put in a second bathroom. I manifested my own ensuite bathroom recently. We have a beautiful view of our backyard, of our pool, and of our beautiful trees and of our garden. And now we've got a greenhouse out there. And I'm so happy where I am. I don't want to go anywhere. Okay. So it really comes down to your perception. But first, you need to surrender to what is, right? Get very clear on what your current reality looks like and ask yourself, this is so important. Write this down. What must I believe to be true for my life to look the way it does? Because remember, in some capacity, you have attracted, at this point in your life, every single thing that you're experiencing, you have attracted to you in some way. Okay. And that is one of the reasons why this work is not for anybody who is not willing to take 100% responsibility for what they're experiencing. Okay. And I don't mean like, oh, poor me, I'm so terrible. Why did I attract this? Why did I do this to myself? Blah. So I'm not playing victim. It's about empowered yourself to know I attracted my situation now, which means I can attract a new situation too. Okay. All that matters, or sorry, all that means is that up until this point, you've been focusing on the wrong things. You've been putting your attention on the wrong things. Most of us spend a lot of time worrying. We are living in the past. We're living in the future, things that have happened, things that could happen, things that might happen, right? Things that we don't want to happen. Why do you want to spend your energy on things that might or could happen? Like, what a waste of time, right? But the nice thing is, I will tell you, the good thing about that is if you are a worrywart, if you are traditionally somebody who worries, you are already good at visualizing the outcome. You're just using your energy in the wrong way. So start visualizing the outcome you want. Something you need to realize is you have ultimate power over what you create. So if you spend any time focusing on what you're worried about happening, you can almost guarantee that will happen. But if you focus instead on what you're creating, where you're going, what you're excited about, like if you're going to think about the future at all, it should be on the goals you're planning on achieving and not the car that might break down or the bill you might not be able to pay or whatever. The universe can surprise you in a multitude of ways, but only if you're open to receiving it. Okay. So let's go back to the topic. Surrendering to what is. What must I believe to be true for my life to look the way it does? Okay. Because it's belief systems that have attracted to you. Okay. So for example, when I was doing this exercise myself, and I was at that time not happy with my situation, I realized, okay, well, I must believe that I'm not capable of running a household by myself, or I must believe that I need to be under the watchful eye of parent figures, that I don't trust myself to be responsible or whatever, right? It's about objectively looking at where you are so that you can make the changes. And tomorrow, we're going to talk about identifying the gaps in consciousness from what is to what you want to create. So it's really, really important. Definitely come back for day 2. But you have to understand that what we perceive is what we receive, right? So if you're perceiving your outcome, your life to look a certain way, and no, it's shitty this, and I never have money for that, and I can't seem to get my business off the ground, and I can't, why do I always sabotage my relationships, or whatever the situation is, if you're perceiving it that way, that's what you're going to receive. So one of the best things you can do for yourself is start to become aware of the thoughts that you think and the things that you say. And be very careful to never speak into existence something you don't want to experience. Okay. So I always encourage anybody really to think about the words that you say as if you're placing an Amazon order. Okay. If what you say is going to manifest into your reality, if what you say is going to show up on your doorstep in a little Amazon box, think about what you're saying. Do I want this to show up in my life? Right? There's so many ways you can say things, right? If you are, let's say, for example, you're trying to get your business off the ground and you can't seem to attract the right clients, for example, okay? You can say, oh my God, I can never attract the right clients. Or you can say, I am refining my attraction skills for the absolute perfectly aligned clients. Like every time you speak to somebody who's not the right fit, you are getting clearer and clearer on who is the good fit, right? Who is the best fit. Contrast breeds clarity. So I need you to also understand that. Write that down. Contrast breeds clarity. Okay. Your current reality now, in likelihood, at least in some parts, is contrasting to what you would ideally like to experience. Right? But what contrasts specifically, right? Like what specifically? So me being under the watchful eye of my parents-in-law at the time was like, okay, well, I obviously don't want this. What would I prefer? I would prefer to have my own house, right? Obviously. Now I actually don't feel that way. Now I really, really like working as a family unit. I feel like we're doing a real European thing in this house. There's my great grandfather is, or not my great grandfather, my husband's grandfather. So my son's great grandfather is upstairs as well. So there's 6 of us in this house. And I love it. I love it. And one of the key moments for me, for my personal experience, was we were sitting around the pool. All of us, all 6 of us were outside around the pool. And I was thinking to myself, in my, dream scenario, we're all sitting around the pool together at my house. So I'm literally doing it right now, right? Like I'm living my desired reality right now, just not in the way that I was imagining it in my head, which is another point. And I want you guys to write this down too. You are already experiencing your dream reality, but only to the degree that you are allowing it in, only to the degree that you are allowing yourself to receive it. Okay. So that's why it's important to surrender to what is and really make peace with where you are right now and what your circumstances look like and the belief systems that created your reality now. Because when you make peace with all that and you surrender to it all, you can start to create the life that you want and realize too that, at the core of what you're experiencing, it is already part of what you want, but only to the degree that you're allowing it in. Right? But that's really empowering because all that means is you have to just move out of the way and you can experience everything that you've wanted. I had one, it was like a tarot / birth chart reading, really, really cool, with this woman named Juanita. And she said to me specifically, she's like, it's like your hose of abundance, your hose of flow is kinked. But as soon as you figure out what that kink is and release it, everything will flow for you, right? Like a garden hose. And I thought, oh my God, that's so perfect. So I always imagine this. This is like one conversation I had, September of 2019. And I think about that all the time, how we are all in some way kinking our own hose. Right? And you cannot even begin to unkink that hose until you surrender to the fact that you are kinking your hose. You know what I mean? But that requires you to take 100% responsibility. And a lot of people are not willing to do that, right? And I cannot work with people who are not willing to take 100% responsibility. I cannot. If you are stuck in playing the victim and poor me and this is happening and this excuse, no, I'm sorry. That is not going to work. You need to take 100% responsibility because you can't make changes if you can't surrender to what is. Remember my example earlier about, you can't really change your financial situation if you're not willing to at least look at what's currently happening, examine what's going on, and make the changes you need, right? It's the same as this. You cannot change your circumstances and manifest a better reality if you are not willing to look at what got you to where you are right now. Right? And regardless, what got you here is not going to get you to where you want to go anyway. It's only going to keep you stuck right here. So even more important to examine what belief systems got you to this area in your life right now. What must I believe to be true for my life to look this way? And then you question those and go, okay, is this ultimately true? No. Okay, what would I rather believe then? What would I rather believe? Because the belief system that got you here, chances are, is other people's shit that you have just picked up, right? From the people who raised you. Maybe they're your parents, maybe you had guardians, maybe you had grandparents raising you, aunts, uncles, whatever. Maybe older siblings, like whatever your situation is. Your belief systems are passed down from people who raised you, teachers, in all of society, the mass consciousness there. Some of it is even in your DNA, passed down from generations. Okay, but you can't undo any of that until you're really, really willing to see what's going on under the surface. So you have to make peace with where you are, and you have to make peace with the fact that you attracted the situation you're in. But let that be empowering because now you can choose better, right? We don't know what we don't know. But now that you know that you are the creator of your reality and you have attracted what you're experiencing, you can move forward now with more empowering beliefs and work to reprogram them. Okay. But you have to surrender to what is first. You have to take stock of what's going on right now. And please do not look at your life and go, oh my God, I am such a mess. This is a mess and I fucked this up and la, 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 whatever. No, you're a work in progress and you didn't know any better until now. You didn't know any better. Like, you know how frustrating it is? If I was to sit here and play the victim, do you know how frustrating it would be for me to go, oh my God, I've supposed to have been a spiritual healer this whole time. And I spent my entire, childhood, teens, young adult life bashing spirituality, saying, I don't want to be in the spotlight. I don't want to make a huge salary because then I will never see my family. Like, these are all limiting beliefs that I've been saying and carrying into my adulthood. And I know now that those beliefs, it was like my higher self knew. Well, not like it is. Your higher self knows, right? Your higher self knows that I was destined to be in the spotlight, to make a good living, right? And to be a spiritual mentor. So here I am growing up battling all of these things because my higher self and my ego are having an argument basically under the surface of what I believe is going on. Okay. And then you add in all of the self-sabotage, right? Hitting your upper limit, hitting your glass ceiling. It's like unreal, the things we do to ourselves when our ego and our higher self are battling each other. Right. And that's something we're going to talk about later too on, I don't even know what day. Day 3. So tomorrow we're talking about identifying gaps in your consciousness. So tomorrow we're going to talk about how you identify the difference between, a limiting belief and a truth, and what the gaps are in your consciousness between where you are now and where you're going, right? Because now, after today, you guys are clear on where you're going, where you are. And I want you to really take some time to answer that question. Don't just write the question down. What must I believe to be true for my reality to look the way it does? Answer the question. Take some time today to evaluate your finances, your relationships, your career or your business, or however you choose to make your money. Your house. Like, your house, is it well kept or is it a fucking disaster, right? What must you believe to be true for that to be the case? And this is supposed to be empowering. Please do not take this as oh my God, I don't want to look under the rug at all this stuff. You cannot make any improvements if you're not willing to look under the rug. You have to take responsibility. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. If you are not willing to take responsibility for your current reality and surrender to it as it is and just look at it objectively as, okay, this is where I am, let's move forward. If you're not willing to do that, then you might as well not even bother watching the rest of the workshop the next few days, because it's a waste of time. But if you are willing to take responsibility and you are willing to surrender to what is, and you are willing to do what is required to look under the rug and see who you really are and what makes you who you are up until this point, and choose better and move forward and align to who you are and what you're supposed to do, then definitely you want to come back. But I want you to take the time today to examine your belief system. What must I believe to be true for my reality to look the way it does? And then ask yourself, am I willing to take responsibility for this? Can I make peace with where I am? Can I surrender to what is? Because guess what? It is what it is no matter what. You cannot change where you are until you surrender to where you are. So, and just like who you are yourself, you can't change who you are until you surrender to who you have been being. Right? You can't be somebody else until you know who you are right now. Okay. So like I said, tomorrow we're going to talk about identifying the gaps in your belief system, in your consciousness, between who you are right now and who you're trying to become. Because like I said, what got you here is not going to get you here. We need to identify the gaps. Okay. And then on Wednesday, we're going to be talking about combating your ego and your critical mind. Remember, I was talking about the fight between your ego and your higher self. That's a constant battle. Okay. But I'm going to teach you how to make it a little bit easier and how to do it in the moment instead of like weeks, years down the road. Okay. And then on Thursday, we're going to be talking about teaming up with your universal forces in the angelic realm and using the universe to your advantage, calling them in. Okay. And then on day 5, on Friday, we're going to wrap it all up with how you can recognize and then show gratitude for and appreciate when you are in alignment, what that looks like, how you know you're in alignment, and how you can move closer and closer to being in alignment all the time, right? And really aligning to your purpose. Okay. Somebody's asking, so how do you suggest to not beat ourselves up when we find all the dirt under the rug? Okay, so you need to understand there's going to be dirt under there. Okay, there is going to be dirt under there. But one of the most important things that you need to realize is most of the shit that's under your rug is not even yours. It's not even yours. Okay, most of the stuff, most of the dirt under the rug, the proverbial dirt, is not even yours. It's stuff that's been like programmed into your DNA from generations back. It's past life stuff that you can't do anything about until you know about it. And it's a lot of it is, what's the word I'm looking for? Like osmosis, is that a word? Into you from watching your parent. Like a lot of the limiting beliefs that I thought that were mine were actually passed down from my family. Right? And we'll go into, there's all kinds of like hidden barriers, the way we self-sabotage ourselves, right? It's going to be so much easier to see all of that once you know what's under the rug, but you can't start to dissect it and break it down and make it more empowering until you know what's under there. So look under the rug. Just look at it objectively for what it is. You don't need to feel bad. You did not put that there intentionally, but you can clean it out intentionally now. Okay? Don't feel bad. Everybody, literally every single person has dirt under the rug. And I will tell you, the more impact you are meant to make in the world, the more shit's going to be under your rug. I'm telling you that right now. Okay. That's something that I have uncovered time and time and time again. The people, me included, and the people that I encounter, the ones who have been through the most and have the most shit to work through are the ones that are here to make the biggest impact. Okay. So in that sense, it's exciting. The more shit you have under your rug, it's like, oh, okay. Those are more things that you can work through. Like, honestly, I said this on the call this morning in the book club. Now, when I'm going through some challenge, if I'm overcoming something, normally, you just go through it. And then when I progressed a little more in my journey, you can look back on those things and go, okay, yeah, I went through that because I need to teach on this part, or now I can relate in this way. And now I'm at the point where I'm in alignment so much of the time, and I'm so in tune with my higher self and my higher self and my awareness that literally while it's happening, like literally tears coming down my face because I'm dealing with something and I'm releasing all kinds of emotions and trapped shit and I'm working through whatever. And I'm just like, okay, but this is good because now I can teach on this too. I can speak to this. I can speak to this too. This is another tool I have in my toolkit now. So now, like, this is what I'm trying to get you guys to. Now, when I uncover more dust bunnies under my couch or whatever, under my rug, I know that they're there as a tool for me. As I overcome it, now it's another tool I can speak on. Now it's another way that I can relate to my clients. It's another way that I can empower the world, right? It's another way I can spread my ripple effect out. Okay. So don't feel bad if you find some stuff in there that you're not proud of, because you have to start somewhere. If you don't uncover what's under there, you can't make any progress. And the first step to progress is making peace with what is currently. Okay. So that wraps up day 1, surrendering to what is. I will see you back here actually in a little over an hour at noon when I sit down with Marika to talk about her experience inside Alignment U. You guys need to tune into this. Her story is so cool. I'm going to kind of poke at her to bring up her recent experience at the hospital. She just had a baby a couple weeks ago. And actually, this is the first Alignment U baby. Marika and I, when we first had our first conversation, so she signed up for the workshop, she was attending the workshop, she reached out to me. Our first conversation, just earlier in that day, she had found out she was pregnant with an unexpected baby. Yeah, poke, with an unexpected baby. And so Marika and this baby and I have been together the whole time. So I'm very attached to this little girl. She's just so sweet. And the whole hospital experience is so amazing because it's so contrasting in a very good way from previous America to current America. And I just cannot wait for you guys to hear her story. So come back here at noon and we will be live to talk about that. And then I will see you guys back here tomorrow, same time, 10 a.m. for day 2, when we're talking about identifying gaps in your consciousness. You do not want to miss it. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So until then, thank you guys so much for being here. I so appreciate it. If you are catching the replay, I would love a hashtag replay just so that I know you were here and loved it. And if you guys are welcome to share in the group or even just on this video here, share with me your biggest aha moment so far, your biggest breakthrough, your biggest light bulb moment in this training so far, what it means to you to finally understand that where you are is not a bad thing. You don't have to be victim to it. Use it as an empowering experience. Okay. Thank you guys so much. I will see you back here at noon and then again tomorrow at 10.